I'm about to start a new DIY project. So I've got a lightener rack and a quick pitch tent. Love to have a canopy camper. Moonlander X is actually the topper that I want for this moving forward. But I got to make some adjustments now. So I'm going to do a little DIY project where I'm going to see how I can use maybe sheets of plywood on the lightener rack. Right on. I can use maybe sheets of plywood on the lightener rack to not necessarily enclose, like seal it, but to at least enclose it for prying hands, you know, like prying eyes, hands, like people that may want to steal stuff out of the back of this. It's always been bothering me. It's why I want to go with a canopy camper, but I'm in Alaska. There's not a lot of options for a Nissan. I got to make do with what I'm going to make do with right now until I make a final, more permanent change. So the plan is going to be to put the plywood basically in this section here. I've removed the roto packs that was on here. That was right there, and then there was a bag on the other side of that. So I'm moving that, gonna make different plans for that. I'll probably put the roto pack right on the plywood. Like I'll be able to just fashion that right onto there with their hardware. The gear pod, I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep that on or if I'm gonna work around it. Like I could easily just make the wall stop there, or I can remove it and extend the wall the way and not have that thing that sticks out. It's convenient. I'm probably going to keep it, but I'm going to play around with it a little bit before I make that decision. Anyway, I've got some plywood. I need to start measuring, cutting, doing all that. See how this goes. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. It's a weird height. All right, so I think I've got everything I'm going to need for this first part. This first part's really just going to be measuring and cutting. I'm going to, once I get that done, then we'll start talking about where the drill holes need to be, how I'm going to mount it to the lightener rack, and then I'm also going to paint it. Probably just do like a bed liner or something like that. Textured kind of thing over it, black, make it simple. But for just now, for what we're doing today, is we're just going to measure it and we're going to cut it, make sure it fits, see how it looks before we start really getting into any of the hardware stuff like that. So part one's going to be, you need to get a measuring tape. Speed square is always nice. Pencil, a long ruler. I love a long thick ruler for making some of those really long straight lines. Again, DIY project. If you've built stuff like this before, you're gonna skip on. You don't need to watch any of this. If you're new to this, or if you're trying to figure out what to do with the rack, that's why I'm doing this. I'm not really gonna try and show you how to make it, but I am gonna tell you some of the things that I need while I put this monstrosity together. Yeah, I just hope it's not an eyesore. We'll see. All right, first thing I need to do is measure between this and in between this. So from there all the way across, got 54 inches. 54 inches from here to here, and it's the same from here. I've already measured that, I know this. Okay, so 54 inches. And I also know that from here to here it's 20 24 inches, but I don't know if we're going to go all the way up or if we're going to go part of the way up when it comes to the height. I had these pre-cut for 24 inches, which is the maximum that they would fit underneath here. We need 54 inches. 54 inches of length. So take 54's right there, make a mark. Right there, move stuff out of the way. That's what we do. All right, 54's right there. Okay, take your long ruler and then match up your marks like so. There we go, make sure they're matched up. You can even get your T-square at that point. Make sure you're straight. So you want to make sure that line is as straight as possible. So you use your big, thick, flat aluminum ruler and check your measurements. Put that T-square up. Make sure that T-square, it's got a lip. Goes right there. Slide that sucker on down there and you'll have a straight line. You have a straight line. Now you still have to cut it straight, but you'll have a straight line. Make sure you can see the line. Make it dark, draw it hard, it's okay. You're gonna paint over it, or at least sand it, do something like that. I've done this way too much where I've just drawn a little thin line. I can't see it. And then I gotta measure it again, mark it, like it's a mess. Don't be like me. Yeah, I guess, well, that didn't go 100% to plan, so I'm sure I broke every OSHA rule. You know, I realized after that I touched the blade, it was still plugged in. Anyway, I have all my fingers. I'm good. The piece of wood was cut. I have no idea if it's straight. We're about to find out. Probably not with that little whatever happened. It just, yeah, probably need a new blade. But yeah, let's hold it up and see if it's even the right length, and then I'm gonna have to figure out the height. And then I know that the poles, or the things that hold the rack to hold the tent to the rack, stick out further. I'm gonna have to cut out for them. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to say I'm gonna have to cut out for those. I'll show you. You might be able to see them. They're right here. So they're the rails that so the lightener rack, you have to have the rails to put the rooftop tent on, and the rooftop tent goes on the rails. Why can't it just fit? Anyway, so you have to have these rails. These rails stick out further than the tall post that goes lengthwise. So I'm gonna have to, if I have it go all the way up to here, I'll have to cut out for that, or I'll just have to take like 3 inches off the whole thing. But let's hold it up and see what it looks like. All right, moment of truth. I still have things in the way and everything like that, but the width is going to be good. So the width is going to be good because it fits right in there. So the plan is to have it set up like that. So I've got to cut either the notches out, or I have to cut the whole thing down like 3 inches. Otherwise it won't fit on the bed rail. So, but yeah, I got the right length. 54 inches is gonna work. Let's widen that out just a touch. Oh, that is wide. Scoot back. Movie magic, right? Okay, first of all, I know that I have to remove these little things before I can even attempt to put this on there. I was gonna show you the part that I'm talking about is this right here. I don't know if you can see because it's super dark, but what I'm gonna have to do is measure from here to here. That is 5 inches. So 5 inches from there. And then if I do the 24 inch, well actually let's do it from here. And then it's gotta be 19.5 inches tall. So 5 inches, 19.5 inches tall is where I've got to make my cut. So from here to here I have to have 19.5 inches. So I need to get rid of this space here, which comes out 5 inches, and then leaves me 5.5 inches. Is that right? 5.5. 4.5 inches that I have to cut. Because it's, yeah. So 5 by 4.5 piece cut out of the corner. And then that one will be similar, but it's a little further away from the rail, from the vertical rail. I hope this makes sense. I hope it works. Okay, I've made the cuts into the wood to notch out the corners. So I still could go 19.5 across the whole thing if I don't like the way this sticks up, or if that doesn't work. Still could do that. But here's what I got. That side's gonna have the one that's closer. This one's a little further away. That one ended up being about 5 inches from the end of the board, and then this one was 10 inches from the end of the board. So let's go see how it looks. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work. If so, then all I have to do is duplicate it, put it on the other side. There are obviously a lot of things that I need to do still, but this is just kind of round one to see if this is even gonna work. I think it is. I wish I didn't say so much. Let's do it. Let's try it that way. Makes more sense. I almost didn't get my fingers out of there. So that works. Huh. Nineteen and a half inches. Got a truck driving by, plane flying by. Makes this hard. So 19.5 inches probably was a little low. I don't think I'm gonna redo this. But yeah, I don't know where I got 19.5 inches. I got like a lot of inches to go. Maybe it wasn't 19.5 inches. Maybe I did that wrong. But the 24 works out. There's probably a finger width. Not even like the bone, like not even the muscle and the fat around your finger, just the bone. Like I can squeeze my finger in, like, so that's perfect. There's a little notch that was a little unexpected right here that this board actually fits right in. That'll be great whenever I go to mount it. This may just work out. Work on a little bit more, but there's this side. And they're not permanently up, they're just sitting there until I figure out how I want to mount it. But that side's up, and then that's what it would look like inside.